Welcome again to Life with Jennifer J.M. And I am your girl, Auntie Jen. Yes. And my viewers and my subscribers, you know that this new development in the Jamaican Parliament and the government walking out on the opposition. And I'm seeing the critics. We know we're going to have that. It's two-sided party. One side I got to take up for them side, and one side I got to take up for them side, right? So, some of the critics is saying, Mr. Golding should not have bring up the argument about Juliet Holness, because they did agree. The opposition did agree. But the truth is, and Mark make it very clear, that he was not present in the House, and it was Philip Parwell. Parwell stated that when he got there, the day they already appointed, and if you get up, you see where Delroy Chuck get up and say they have appointed Juliet Holness to the office. Mr. Philip Parwell said that he got something, a note or whatever. So it is not for the opposition to choose, is if they will confirm. The opposition couldn't stop it, because remember that the government have the most in a parliament. That's why them running the country the way it run. The majority having it to pass anything, just run go pass bill, extend the DPP tenure to 2 more here. They run go pass anything where they want, but suit them. I don't know say nothing about that. But you are going to criticize Mr. Golding that and a right for bring up that in a budget debate. He don't have no right to bring up the argument in a budget debate. So when he should have bring up the argument? Let me ask those who say he shouldn't bring up the argument. And sometimes time and place for everything. You're not hypocrite, You see how someone on the social media so here we chat. So you hate the man and come out and chat all kind of nonsense. All the whole world is saying right. Them themselves knowing right. You think them don't know? They do things because they get away with it. And it's not really Juliet Holness or really burn them, It's when Mark highlight out the whole budget thing. What the government is strategically trying to fool this nation with. No new tax. I wanna see that. So you could see the cringe and Andrew face from day one when Mark Golding was talking. But we could deal with the situation where I seen and talking about hypocrite because they agree to it. I'm going to let you listen to what Philip Parwell says about it. Listen to what Philip Parwell says.
Sad day for our democracy in the sense that for the first time, the government in Parliament walked out during a budget debate and prevented the leader of the opposition from completing his presentation, denying the Parliament of a quorum, so the Speaker had no choice but to end the proceedings. And I, as leader of the opposition, was unable to finish my presentation. I didn't say anything offensive about anybody. I made a point of principle, which is that it doesn't sit well with the tradition in our parliamentary system, which requires the Speaker of the House to be independent of the government, for the wife of the Prime Minister, who's the head of government, to be the Speaker, which is effectively the head of Parliament. And these concerns are not just my concerns. Many Jamaicans feel that way. And in fact, the international community also has concerns about it because it's really a very unusual situation. And indeed, the Prime Minister, who in an emotional fit stood up and walked out and precipitated the situation which brought the proceedings to an end, really himself reinforced the validity of the point I was making, that there needs to be proper independence between the Speaker and the government. And by virtue of them being spouses, there is none. That was the point I was making. And her conduct, Mrs. Holness's conduct has given rise to concerns by not tabling the reports of the Auditor General on a timely basis as they arrive. There are reports which have been, I'm told, reached Parliament from January, which have 2 Auditor General performance audit reports that have not been tabled. By determining that certain reports of the Integrity Commission must be sent to an oversight committee within Parliament, which is dominated by the government side and chaired by the government side, before those reports are tabled and made public. These are issues of grave concern to me, as somebody who believes in the parliamentary system and in democracy, and indeed for many Jamaicans. So this is why I thought it was essential to make this point in my presentation. And the reaction of the Prime Minister to it reinforced my concerns. Furthermore, Mrs. Holness has refused to make public or even share with us as members of Parliament and senators the legal opinion which she claims justifies the position she's taken. If that is the case, then why isn't she sharing it with us? It wasn't given to her in her personal capacity. It was sent because it concerns matters affecting Parliament in a very fundamental way. To deprive the Parliament of the benefit of that legal opinion is itself an egregious act, inconsistent with transparency in the way we conduct our parliamentary affairs. Today was a...
Now you heard what Mr. Golding has to say, why he did it. I am going to also let you listen to what Mr. Ricardo Brooks has to say about what Mr. Golding did yesterday. Take a listen to this.
Calculation. He made a political gamble yesterday. And you know what, Tana? All things considered, from start to finish, I think he won. After landing his blows in the Parliament, he delivered an effective, fiery press conference at his West Kings House Road offices. That, coupled with what was, in fact, an effective presentation on the floor of the House, which hit several important points up to the point of the premature termination, means Mark Golding won the day. He won on politics and he won on policy. Only the most uncharitable observer would seek to take that from him. And yes, there is no obvious distraction from the substance of what he presented. But is that trade-off fatal to his objective? I don't think so. Because what does he gain instead? He gains the opportunity to cast himself as a victim of government retribution and retaliation. He gains the opportunity to cast himself as a champion for the people silenced by a government that did not want to be criticized. That is a powerful political rallying cry. Again, yesterday was about politics, plain and simple. And we fool ourselves into thinking it was about more than that. And then in many ways, Mr. Golding was assisted in that yesterday by the reaction of the government benches. The walking out of the House of Representatives and the termination of the budget presentation of the leader of the opposition was simply wrong. Make no mistake about it. The opposition leader has the absolute right to be heard in the House of Representatives. That right is all the more amplified when he speaks in the budget presentation. That's the business of the Jamaican people. And no matter how intolerable the Prime Minister may personally find the comments, using the government's majority to effectively silence Mark Golding on the House floor was a profoundly undemocratic act. It played to the worst perceptions of this government. The Parliament is not the sole province of the executive. It ought not to be allowed to silence criticism it cannot withstand. What's more, the Prime Minister, come Thursday, will command the bully pulpit and will have a prime opportunity to respond to Mr. Golding in full. He will have his opportunity to rebut and rebut forcefully. It was therefore not necessary to set in train this unusual break with parliamentary tradition. Because in so doing, the government handed Mr. Golding the right to credibly say this is an administration that believes itself above criticism. Walking out was the wrong call. It was the wrong call as a matter of governance, and it was the wrong call as a matter of politics. And in Tono, while I have the greatest sympathy for the Prime Minister as a man not standing for his wife being attacked and bullied, there was no need for all the government members to leave such that the House could not maintain its quorum. That was an act of raw political retribution. We do not punish parliamentary speech in this country simply because it makes us uncomfortable. And we certainly do not punish it, of all places, on the floor of the House of Representatives itself. That's not acceptable. The bar is higher than that. It has to be. And so, when I take it all together, Tana, the 2-hour presentation, the walkout, the finishing the speech on Duke Street, the press conference at it is.
So after listening to everything, my viewers and my subscriber, I want you to leave a comment. What you think about this whole saga? Leave a comment and the conversation can continue. Remember to like, share, and to subscribe to this channel, Life with Jennifer JM. I'm your girl, Auntie Jen, and I will catch you next time. Bye.